Welcome to Infinite Tales. Please subscribe to my channel. Your one click means the world to me. The hiss of a dying welding torch echoed like a lonely animal in the deep silence of space. For Evan Ree, buried in the greasy metal bowels of the celestial bastion, it was just another Tuesday. He wiped a line of soot from his forehead and glanced at the narrow viewport where the Undra Nebula spilled crimson and gold across the void like a painted battlefield. Out there, Sethian hunter drones drifted in the shadows, waiting for a mistake. In here, all he had was recycled air and the humiliation of dropping the same wrench 3 times. He liked it that way, simple, quiet, human. Far below the unbearable perfection of the Valkyrian royal courts, Evan stayed out of the way. A man of bolts and duct tape. A man the universe should have ignored, but the universe never checks your schedule before kicking you in the teeth. The comm panel chirped. Not his supervisor. A stone-faced Valkyrian guard appeared, ears angled like polished blades ready to judge him. Technician Evan Ree, Hall of Resonance. 10 minutes. Promotion or execution. Those were the only 2 outcomes the Hall usually offered. Given Evan's recent incident involving a mining drone and a cargo bay wall, he knew which one was more likely. He grabbed a protein bar. Dying hungry was just unnecessary disrespect. The bastion was a shifting giant, a metal leviathan kilometers long. As Evan climbed toward the higher decks, the halls changed from bare conduit to shimmering walls embroidered with alien wars he couldn't pronounce. 2 guards flanked him like silent executioners, offering no comfort, no hint, not even the courtesy of a sarcastic smirk. They stopped at doors 20 feet high, covered in symbols that twisted like they were trying to escape the metal. When they opened, the Hall of Resonance swallowed him whole, a cathedral forged of shadow and blue-white fire, and at its heart stood the armor, liquid silver, pulsing with blue veins. Except for the jagged blackened rift cutting across its surface like the wound of a dying god. Queen Seraphil Corrin stood beside it, midnight hair like falling stars, amber eyes glowing with command. Torvin, master of the forges, looked as if the armor had been drinking his life one day at a time. The Sethian dreadnought hadn't just struck the armor, it had infected it with a decay that warped reality itself. If it spread to the core, their strategic advantage in the war vanished. They didn't call Evan for skill. They called him because during a previous repair he'd accidentally produced a harmonic pattern that matched the armor's ancient frequency. They needed chaos, a variable, a human. If I break it worse, Evan muttered, stepping toward the artifact. I'm blaming whoever dragged me here. The metal hummed under his fingers, warm, alive, curious. His scanner spat nonsense, acting on instinct more than logic. He touched the corrupted wound. The universe shattered into a storm of light. When consciousness finally crept back, he was lying on a medical bench with his spine complaining loudly. A medic informed him he had been unconscious for 43 minutes, a survival record for anyone touching the living royal armor. Then came the throne. Room. 50 nobles stared at him with the hunger of predators deciding if the new creature was edible. The queen stood, gaze sharp enough to skin him on the spot. You repaired the armor, she said, but you also triggered something else. Torvin projected the pattern, burned into the armor's restored surface. Not chaos, not random symbols. Equations, molecular sequences, binding marks. Evan had unknowingly activated the Valkyrian equivalent of a sacred marriage rite. The armor had declared him its son. By ancient law, he was now the queen's consort. I'd like to vote accident. Evan CROAKED. The nobles erupted, shouting heresy, destiny, treason, prophecy. The queen silenced them with one raised hand and proposed a compromise. Evan would stay as a guest, observed and studied. Not quite a husband, not quite free. Later, in the armory sanctuary, Torvin replayed the moment of contact. The symbols etched into the armor weren't ceremonial. They were technical, proof that the founders had built the armor not for a species, but for any mind capable of solving the impossible. The armor didn't choose a warrior, Evan murmured. It chose someone who thinks sideways. The queen herself arrived, unexpectedly quiet, and brought him to a hidden observation deck. Below, 40,000 Valkyrians of the Third Fleet waited on the edge of annihilation. She explained that a consort was a partner strategically, mentally, and spiritually. Before he could process the word partner, alarms wailed Sethian scouts. Sector 7. In the command center, the air buzzed with frantic tactical streams. The queen commanded the defense with surgical brilliance. But Evan saw something everyone else missed the moment one scout charged. The others paused, not in fear, in calculation. It's a distraction, he said, pointing at the dead zone in the sensor grid. They're mapping your blind spots. The queen didn't question. She redirected fire instantly. Cloaked ships materialized, exactly where Evan predicted. Destroyed in seconds. The next day, 17 delegations demanded an explanation. Evan stood before them, surrounded by power older than humanity itself. They expected fear, obedience. He gave them logic. The armor didn't care about your bloodlines, he said. It cared about adaptability. Curiosity, a mind that asks, but what if it isn't impossible? You're losing this war because you're trapped in tradition. The armor chose a wild card. The Queen seized the moment, declaring a trial period 1 lunar cycle. If the bond proved stable, the future of the consortship would be addressed. Back in the strategy chamber, Evan pushed further. If the armor adapted to him, then the dormant founder sites hidden across the Vidian belt might adapt to. Their war could be rewritten that night. The Queen and the accidental consort stood beneath a sky carved with nebula fire. She admitted that the armor offered protection, but Evan offered perspective. Others see a wall, she said. You see a mechanism waiting to be opened. For the first time, Evan felt the universe wasn't laughing at him, it was nudging him forward. Back in his quarters, the armor pulsed faintly, like a heartbeat learning to match his own. Evan opened his log. Day 3 of accidentally getting engaged to an alien queen. Current status, still alive. Developing suspicion that the universe is setting me up for something big. Looking out at the glowing nebula, Evan began to think the universe wasn't joking at all.